Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. Well, I hope wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours that you really are enjoying your day/night, depending on what part of the world you're in. And this week, I'd like to sort of open the show with, please, we need to keep Aretha Franklin in our prayers, in our thoughts, in our best wishes. What an amazing career that woman has had. I mean, she's been one of my probably absolute favourite singers of all time. I know I say that about a lot of people, but what she did for Indigenous people all around the world, what she did for women, she just was an amazing icon, or still is an amazing icon. We haven't lost her just yet. And it's just when you see somebody like that that's made such a powerful impact on the world, ending their days like this, it sort of can't help but tug at your heartstrings and think, why? What did she do to deserve to have such a terrible illness? Nobody has that answer. And all as we can do is keep her safely in our prayers and in our thoughts and send her positive vibes that the transition for the rest of her life is going to be comfortable and peaceful, and give her the respect that she so definitely deserves. And that song, I think, will live on far past her memory as an anthem for women, I think, more than anything, right around the world. So we can all hold our hands and send a little prayer for Aretha Franklin. So we're going to kick the show off now. It's an interesting week. We've had a very, very interesting week. We've got, in the middle of the eclipse season, we've got the full moon looming next week. We've still got Mercury retrograde. And I know a lot of people sort of thought, gee, Mercury was coming to the end of his retrograde phase. He's almost at the standstill or the stationary position before he actually goes direct again. But the bad news is we've still got another 7 days of Mercury retrograde in a sense, in one form or another. But yes, the energy is starting to wind down now. Still not the time to sign a contract unless you absolutely have to. Make sure you really triple check all the facts, figures, make sure that you understand everything that's being offered to you, because Mercury retrogrades are a little bit like that. And they are also the time when communication of any form just seems to go haywire. It's sort of like nobody's got their listening ears on, your mobile phone breaks down, your computer has a mind of its own. Or, if you like a lot of my electrical gadgets, they have a mind of their own at any time, but a little bit more so under Mercury retrograde. So we just all have to be patient with that. So the Simply Tarot card of the week this week is the Five of Pentacles. Now, this card has a double meaning. It can be delays in money, delays around money. That doesn't mean not enough money. It just means money can be delayed. Typical under a Mercury retrograde, the computer system fails. So therefore you don't get paid on time, whether it's your wages or whether it's money you're expecting coming in from a business. So this is an apt card with Mercury retrograde. And it's coming in from the cold. When we look very carefully at this card, we can see that there's two people standing outside what looks to be a church window, and it's as if they're standing in the snow and they're coming in from the cold. I know you can't see it on the card on the screen, but the card actually has a leper's bell around the male's neck. Now, this in olden day times, we don't have very much to do with leprosy these days, would have been something very similar or equivalent to AIDS in today's modern society, where people felt left out. They feel as if they were being restricted or taken out of normal society where people didn't want to associate with them. So it is a time of coming in from the cold and being welcomed back into society is how I interpret that card. So, it's a very, very busy week as we have our little quick glimpse around the universe first and foremost. It's a week where we've got, for the next couple of days anyway, we've got Venus, the planet of love and affection, is actually conjunct or holding hands with the moon in Libra. So it can be a very peaceful sort of time as far as romance and love. And it's the time when a lot of us are going to want to go window shopping or go shopping for some extravagant items that really tug at our heartstrings. So can I just sort of suggest that if you're going to go shopping in the next 48 hours, and particularly for something that's not the usual things like food and household essentials, if you're going shopping for sort of some luxury items or something to spoil yourself with, that you set yourself a budget or leave most of your credit cards at home and only take one that you can only go to a certain limit, because it will be very, very easy to just be in a sort of a little bit of a lovely sort of foggy sort of place saying, oh, that's nice, I'll throw that in the trolley. Oh, yes, please deliver that to me too. And then, in a week's time turn around and think, oh, my dear, why did I spend so much money? I really don't need all these beautiful possessions. Oh, well, I've done it now. It's, I'm just sort of trying to warn you to just be careful of your spending. It also can be the time that if you meet somebody new under this cycle, which is only 48 hours, I might add, make sure that you truly know who they are, that, you're not just in love with the fact of meeting somebody that could be a potential love partner for you, make sure that they're the right fit for you also. It's always a busy time as we glimpse around the universe. I could spend a whole couple of hours just filling you in on the bits and pieces that are happening in the universe today, let alone what's happening longer term. But I like to try and keep it brief so that everybody can sort of take little sound bites or little short bites out of what we're talking about. And this week, our little mini astrology lesson, we've been featuring famous singers from male and female as we work our way around the zodiac. And this week, I'm happy to share with you Olivia Newton-John. Now, Olivia Newton-John, we've adopted her here in Australia. She's been here since she was a little tiny tot. But Olivia Newton-John was actually born in England. So, you know, she wasn't actually Australian, but we've claimed her as that. And I know she spent a lot of her professional career in the US. She's extremely well known around the world. She's had so many hit records, so many hit albums, too many to mention, lots and lots of awards. You know, there probably isn't a person on the planet that doesn't know an Olivia Newton-John song from, you know, from everywhere. And it's interesting to see that most of us, whether we know it's her that's singing or not, would be able to sing along to somebody to one of her songs, you know, whether it's about love or whether it's from that very big hit musical 30 years ago, the hit movie that I'm sure everybody's seen at least once or twice, Grease. So, you know, she did that amazing duet with John Travolta about You're the One That I Want. And I don't think too many of us will ever forget that, with Livy in that very, very tight outfit and her hair all teased out and smoking a cigarette. And I know in real life she doesn't smoke and never, ever has done. Olivia's also been, a lot of people don't realise this, but Olivia's always been a very big activist for animal rights and also the environment. And here in Australia, she set up her own cancer wellness research and development centre, which has a medical facility attached to it too, which is something that's very, very close to Olivia's heart. She walked the Great Wall of China a few years ago now to raise money for cancer awareness. She's had her second bout of breast cancer and still going strong. And she is a very, very, very big believer in complementary therapies and great nutrition. You know, she was juicing long before juicing was ever fashionable. I'm going back 20 or 30 years ago now. Olivia was juicing because she believed that what you put into your body was what you get out of it. I really think that, you know, we can all sort of take a hat off to this amazing lady who's faced a lot of tragedy in her life, but has always found solace in her music and bringing joy to other people. So I won't sing because I don't have the voice for singing, but I'm sure if you have a little chance today, go back and, you know, YouTube, you're the One That I Want, and I think that'll bring a smile to your face. Okay, so we're going to be working with this week, we're working with a candle that most people won't understand the name of this candle. It'll be something that they'll think, oh, yeah, that's an interesting name. Where did Amanda get that one from? The actual candle is called Wishcraft. Now, Wishcraft was a candle that when I was designing my range a few years ago now, I wanted a candle that would be known as a universal candle, something that you could say that had no real particular intent, purpose or direction. It was one that you could change the intent, purpose or direction yourself on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, that you could make it what you wanted it to be. So I played around with a lot of names and I was very, very careful because I'm not into Wicca or anything like that. I didn't want people to sort of think that this was a Wiccan-based candle. And it's not that I have anything against Wicca. It's just not part of my belief system. I'm not saying I don't respect it and I don't understand it. I do, and it's the same with religion. We all have our own personal preferences, and it's not for me to sit here and preach to you about what my personal preferences are or are not. But some people sort of that were in the Wiccan society sort of said to me, oh, great, you've got a Wiccan candle, because they could see the pentagram sitting in the middle of the candle. Well, no, it's actually a pentagram taken off the Simply Tarot cards, but that's okay. That's another story. So earlier this year when my downtime, I like to watch old DVDs, and I particularly like to buy series of things and go back and watch things that I suppose that I enjoyed in my youth growing up and things that put a smile on my face. And I purchased a series of Bewitched, which I'm sure most of you have watched that at least once or twice in your lifetime. And it was while I was watching these DVDs that I actually heard Samantha mention the word wishcraft in 2 or 3 separate episodes. And I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? Because I hadn't consciously named the candle that because of the series of Bewitched. But it just to me sort of said to me that there was a little message there that on my subconscious level, somewhere along the line from my childhood, I had retained that name and went to utilise it later on in my work and call a candle after that. So I felt pretty chuffed about that we actually had a candle that represented Samantha and her wiggly nose, and I know she's been a favourite of many of us. So how would we work with a wishcraft candle? Well, what we would do is we would write down what it is that we want to bring into our life. So say today we're trying to attract more finances, more money into our life, because the card of the week is delays with money coming in. We would write on our list what it is that we're trying to achieve. Say you have people, 2 or 3 accounts that are outstanding, people are slow paying. You could put that down on your list and sort of asking in a nice way that you'd like their account finalised within 24 hours. You would then go to light your candle. Now, in these extra large ones, you can see, if you look closely, they have 2 wicks. I like to light one side one day and the other side the next day, purely because you get a longer burn time out of the candle. If you light the 2 wicks, you only get approximately up to 60 hours, depending on how you look after your candle. If you burn the alternate wicks, you can get up to about 100 hours. And I like to do that for 2 reasons. One, it's more economical. And secondly, sometimes the glass containers themselves can get hot, and with the changes in temperature, and here in Australia we're in the middle of winter, it can sometimes crack the glass. Now, I always suggest that you put your candle on a coaster. You write your list, you put it underneath the candle, put the candle on a coaster, then write it and read out aloud, have a separate list, a duplicate list of what your wishes are, of reading that out aloud. Light your candle between 15 minutes to 2 hours per day. You can change what you want to wish for each day. So today might be finances. Tomorrow you might want to attract love. Day 3, you might just want some peace in your household. Day 4, you might want to purchase a new dress or a new suit. So whatever your wishes are, be creative. Do something different with your wishcraft candles. The actual fragrance of this one is Dragon's Blood, and it is quite an unusual smell. It was one that took me a little bit of time to get used to because I wasn't a real fan of Dragon's Blood, but it's not overpowering. I want to be very clear on that, because sometimes people think that, I buy a fragrant candle and sometimes they give me a headache. Let me assure you, my range, and I've tested them with many, many people that are super sensitive before we put them on the market, that they don't seem to get headaches from them. If you do, yes, there's always going to be the exception to the rule. And I'm a super sensitive person. I haven't personally got a headache from any of them yet. And that's really rare for me to say that. If I was to buy a petrochemical candle, I could light it and with 3 minutes later I'd have a splitting headache and tears would be running down my face. So they were all very big considerations to me when we were producing this natural soy range of eco candles with the best soy that we can source, lead-free wicks, and keeping the fragrances to hopefully a level that won't irritate people that have a sensitivity. So if you've got only a confined space or you're travelling and you want to take your wishcraft candle with you, you can purchase a little gift box. You can pick 3 wishcraft, or you can make up a set of 3 of any of the 3 that you like out of our range of 28. We have in 27, I beg your pardon, we have in the range now, and that's where we're stopping it. We're not adding any more to it. So these ones, same rules apply. Put your list underneath it, put it on a coaster. You'll get about a 15-hour burn time. These are in little glass containers with little glass lids, which is very, very nice. For those of you that may not want to burn a flame and you might want to work with a melt warmer, these are electric. You can pick them up at the supermarket. Here in Australia, approximately about $15 at the supermarket, maybe a little bit cheaper overseas. Mine has a little switch on the side so I know how to turn it off. I just take half a teaspoon of the soy wax and put that in the melt warmer every morning. I have 2. I have one in my office that I burn with protection when I'm doing my psychic work or melting for my protection. And then I have a different one in my dining room, depending on what I'm working with for the week or that day. At the moment, obviously, I have my wishcraft one going this morning and here in Australia, and it was more to sort of bring peace and harmony into the world and to send loving energy to Aretha Franklin. That was my wish for today, was to send her some loving energy and that she may be able to feel it from all of us. So we're going to take our very, very first caller when I bring it up on the screen, and we have got Amy in Woonsocket, I beg your pardon, Rhode Island, USA. Are you there, Amy?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how can I help you, sweetie? Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I do have a question for you.
Right.
I'm trying to. my grandmother passed away, and I just haven't communicated with her, which is very strange.
You might think it's strange, but it's not necessarily strange. Just because your grandmother's passed away and the two of you were very close here on earth doesn't mean that she's ready yet or able yet to contact you or communicate with you. Maybe she just needs a little rest. It doesn't mean that she doesn't love you and she's not with you. You've got to remember, when we lose somebody, we have a service, we have a funeral, we have a wake, we have whatever, and that helps us come to terms with the losing of that person. For the person that actually passes away, they have to come to terms with the loss of all of us, of everyone, not just one person. So sometimes for them it can be more emotional as they're going through their processes of transition through to the other side, that sometimes they just take their time a little bit more. They're not ready to try and make communication yet. And we here on earth think, well, this should be within a certain time because I need it personally. You know, why hasn't grandma come through to me yet? It's not that she doesn't want to, she's just not ready yet. So just be aware, she may not come through to you in a way that you're expecting either. Sometimes it can be words to a song, a line in a movie, it can be a smell, a sensation, just a thought, something that you're out shopping and you think, oh, gee, grandma would have liked that. Well, that quite often can be their way of making contact with you.
Okay.
It's not always as we think. You know, we're all looking for that really dramatic sort of, that was definitely grandma. You know what I mean? It's not always that way.
Right. I mean, I saw her in a dream a couple times, but it was
that's one way they come through. Yeah, they in my experience, they usually tend to come through in dreams first because it's an easier way of getting our attention because we're usually asleep. You know, we're not usually thinking about the busy day we've got on ahead of us and things like that. So it's usually a time that they can connect. The other one I find that they do very commonly is, again, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, again, we're in a deep sleep. We're usually, very, very relaxed. So it's their way of really getting our attention without us sort of thinking, well, was that them or was it not them? Just be aware, though, even though she's come through to you in a dream, it doesn't mean she's got to pop in every night or even once a week. Unless she's really got something that she wants to share with you, she doesn't necessarily need to make her presence known. She's with you each and every day. She's with you all the time. So they don't always want to come and sit down and have a chat with us all the time, as people think they should. They're busy. They've got work to do on the other side too.
Because I'm really having a hard time with dealing with her passing. So we were very, very close.
Yes, sweetie, that's very understandable, because one thing I can say, and this is universally around the world, is we're not taught how to deal with grief. Nobody teaches this subject and says this is what's normal. Can I suggest to you, if you can get yourself to a library, get a book out called On Death and Dying by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She wrote, in my opinion, the best books on grief. That's probably one of her more popular ones. Her life's work was teaching people how to understand and work with grief. It's a fairly inexpensive book. It's one that I recommend all the time. That will give you some comfort, and it will also help you understand the different stages of grief. There's different stages, and sometimes we get locked into a particular stage of grief and we just don't know how to move ourselves out of there. I can honestly say to you, there is no specific time when we're supposed to wake up magically and feel better. Some people that never happens, and some people it happens quicker than others. It's a very, very personal thing. And can I suggest, don't hold back the tears. Tears, even though in some other people's opinion might be negative, or why you're still crying after this period of time, it's none of their business to state that or even think that. It's a very personal thing. The more tears we cry, the actual better we will feel in the time. There's a certain amount of tears allotted, I believe, for each person that we lose. And until we use those up or empty those emotional buckets, we don't start to come to terms with our grief in a way that we can start to have the great memories flooding back in of all the good times that you spent with your grandmother. Now at the moment, you're just feeling the loss, the pain, the sadness, the disappointment, the anger, why she isn't here anymore. You know why she's not here. She was old and, it was her time, but that still doesn't stop you from being angry that she's not here to share special things with you. That's the human part of grief, sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something, as I said, we just don't talk about it enough. We don't let people express their grief. We tend to think once everything's said and done, the funeral's over and we've had the wake and we give you a couple of weeks and then you're supposed to be miraculously terrific again. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way at all.
It doesn't at all. No, I know it doesn't, darling. I hope that's helped you. But Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she would be my suggestion. Google her. She's an expert on grief. I've read all of her books and she's absolutely amazing and helped me at a time when I didn't understand grief. And that was a long time ago now for me, but she will be my suggestion for you. Anyway, I have to move on. It was lovely to talk with you, Amy.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, sweetie. We're going to go to Christy in Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, Christy. Are you there?
I am.
How can I help you tonight, sweetie?
I was just, I guess, could you kind of tell me where my life is headed? Because right now I'm a mess right now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Christy. Look, there's probably a number of reasons why you're a mess at the moment, and I think part of it is that there's some massive changes coming up around you, and I feel as if you don't feel you're in the driver's seat of the vehicle of your own life. And you probably aren't at this precise second, but I don't want you to be too hard on yourself about why you don't feel like you're coping with things around you at the moment. In the next couple of days, Christy, I do think things are going to start to become a little bit clearer and a little bit easier. Now, first and foremost, I want to look at the job situation, the monetary situation. Has that been a major concern for you?
Yes.
That's the area I think we need to work on first and foremost. So if you're not in a job that you particularly like, then I think we need to work towards in getting you a better job or a better paying job, something there that can help you sort of take control of that part of your life. I feel once we've got that under control, I think the next thing we're going to be looking at is where you're living. I just don't feel as comfortable there as what I feel you should. Is that how you're feeling too?
Yes.
And also, is that connected to a serious relationship, is it?
Yes.
And there's question marks around the living arrangements, isn't there?
Yes.
At whether or not this is right or wrong, or am I looking at it wrong? Am I being too overcritical? Look, I don't think you're being overcritical, and I don't think you're looking at it in the wrong way. I think that, you know, there's still some time with this person, and I still think there's hope that we can get some of these things resolved and maybe, you know, reorganize the relationship in a different way so that both parties are a lot happier in it. I think the biggest problem there has been lack of communication between the two of you, and I'm not just talking about recently, I'm talking about over a long period of time. We need to find a way that we can get you two back sitting down and being open and honest with each other. Is he not working as much as he should be?
No, he's working. Yes.
Okay. Why am I picking up that there's an issue around his job?
We actually work on the same job, probably.
Okay, all right. There just seems to be issues there. There's conflict there around the job. Look, I think he gets a bit short-tempered at times, and I don't think he means to. Look, I really don't believe that this relationship is ready to be over. That's what I'm trying to say to you in a nice way. But I still feel that there's a bit of effort that's got to be put in from both sides. But I feel once we come out of the end of August into the early part of September, things will be a lot clearer than what they have been. And I think the two of you will start to really sort of forge ahead trying to sort of make your lives better. Maybe not be able to make a change of residence before the end of this year, maybe not until the early part of 2019. But the two of you will be actually working towards things together as a couple again, instead of both sort of doing your own agendas all the time. Have you not been well, Christy?
Have I not been well?
Well, have you been lagging in energy? Have you been sick?
No. I mean, I'm diabetic, but
You what, sweetie?
I said I'm diabetic, but other than that, I feel fine.
Okay. They were just showing me sort of energy going up and down, as if your energy levels were sort of up one day and sort of down the next day, as if you're not getting enough rest or not looking after yourself well enough. That can also be tied into the stress and everything that I've seen. But for them to show it to me, I have to take that as a little bit of warning to make sure that you do look after yourself, make sure that you get enough rest, that you're feeding yourself properly, and, just be aware. It's not saying there's anything seriously wrong. It's just saying your immune system's a little bit down. So just, be a bit kinder to yourself. So that's about where we're going to leave it, Christy. I feel that there is better days ahead for you. And I feel that the relationship is something I think that we can improve drastically, which is good. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for being part of the show. So for those of you that might want to get a private reading with me, you can head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. Those of you that want to know a little bit more about witchcraft, head over to Facebook Live on my Amanda Hall page just after this show. I'll be doing a little mini workshop over there. And for those of you that might like to join our email list, head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au, and you get the opportunity then to get your very own free astrology chart emailed to you anywhere in the world, absolutely free. So until next week, keep smiling, and please let's keep Aretha Franklin in our prayers, in our thoughts, and wish her only the very, 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 very best. And we're all going to Google that song, Respect. Bye for now.